The signal was never supposed to be used twice. One emergency hand sign meant danger. Two meant panic. When a royal guard receives the same distress signal from Princess Charlotte, again, his training tells him to wait. His instincts tell him something darker is unfolding behind palace doors. Seconds later, a single decision changes everything. Protocol is shattered. A door is kicked down, and a truth the palace never expected is exposed. But here's the question. Why did the signal have to be sent twice before anyone came? Before we go deeper, take a second to like this video if you appreciate powerful untold royal stories. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. And share this with someone who loves real palace moments that never make the headlines. Trust me, this story stays with you. Late afternoon inside Kensington Palace had a particular sound to it. Not loud, not silent either. Soft footsteps on carpeted corridors. A distant door closing. The muted echo of staff preparing for evening routines. It was the kind of calm that felt permanent, almost protected. The kind of calm people assumed could never truly be broken. Sergeant Daniel Reeves had learned, over 15 years in royal protection, that this was exactly when things went wrong. Nothing ever happened during chaos. It happened during calm. He stood near the eastern corridor, posture relaxed, but eyes constantly moving. That was the trick most people didn't understand about royal guards. They didn't look tense. They didn't look suspicious. They looked ordinary because danger never announced itself. Then he saw it. A small, deliberate movement behind the glass panel at the end of the hallway. At first, Reeves almost ignored it. Almost. A child's hand near a window wasn't too unusual inside a palace filled with young royals. Princess Charlotte often waved at guards when she passed. Sometimes she made faces. Once, she tried to count how long one guard could stand without blinking. But this wasn't waving. 5 fingers appeared against the frosted glass. Then slowly, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reeves felt the shift in his chest before his mind caught up. That wasn't play. Every royal child was taught the signal early. Not as a game, not as a drill, as a last resort. A silent countdown meant only one thing. I am not safe. Reeves straightened. His hand moved instinctively toward his radio, then stopped. Protocol first. Always protocol. He checked his watch. Princess Charlotte was logged in her scheduled activities music lesson, then escorted transition to the family wing. No alerts, no deviations, nothing flagged. Probably a misunderstanding, his training told him. Children misinterpret things. Still, Reeves moved. He walked calmly down the corridor, boots quiet against the carpet. The glass panel came into clearer view. The hand was gone now. The hallway beyond it was empty. Reeves stopped a few feet short. If it was real, the signal wouldn't be repeated unless the child believed no one had seen it. That's when it happened again. 5 Angers. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slower this time. More urgent. Reeves didn't hesitate. "This is Reeves," he said quietly into his radio. Visual on possible distress signal. Requesting location confirmation for Princess Charlotte. A pause. Static. Then the reply. Charlotte is logged as secure. Currently in a supervised area. Reeves stared at the glass. The hand was still there. Not moving now. Just pressed flat, small, and trembling. "She's not where your log says she is," Reeves replied. Calm voice. Steel underneath. Request immediate verification. Protocol demanded. He wait out experience told him waiting was a mistake. He stepped closer to the door the window belonged to. Solid wood. Old. Reinforced. A service room. Most likely storage or archival. Not a place a child should be alone. "Princess Charlotte," he said softly, leaning toward the door. "It's Sergeant Reeves. Can you hear me?" The hand shifted. Once, a faint tap against the glass. That was all he needed. His radio crackled again. "Reeves, stand by. Verification in progress." stand by. Those 2 words had cost lives in other places, other years, other uniforms. Reeves looked at the door, then at the hallway behind him. Empty. Quiet. Too quiet. What happened? He asked gently, keeping his voice low. Are you hurt? The hand moved side to side. No. Is someone else in there with you? The hand paused. Then slowly, a single tap. Yes. Reeves exhaled through his nose. This wasn't confusion. This wasn't imagination. This was a locked door. A trapped child. And someone else inside, or someone who had just left. His radio came alive again. Reeves, command advises you maintain position until senior authorization. No, Reeves interrupted, and surprised himself with how firm his voice sounded. Negative. We have a confirmed child distress. Request immediate breach approval. Silence. Then, quieter this time. Authorization pending? Pending. Reeves took 1 step back from the door. His eyes scanned the frame, the lock, the hinges. Old wood, reinforced steel core. The lock wasn't standard. It had been replaced recently. He could tell by the fresh scoring around the plate. That alone was wrong. He tried the master key. It didn't turn. Reeves felt the cold certainty settle in his gut. Someone had planned this. He pressed his radio again. Lock has been altered. This is no longer procedural. This is active containment of a minor. Another pause. Then hurried footsteps echoed from behind. Captain Hughes, head of Palace Security, appeared with 2 guards. One glance at Reeves' face, and he knew this wasn't routine. Report, Hughes said. Reeves pointed. Princess Charlotte is behind that door. Emergency signal given twice. Lock modified. Child is not in assigned location. Hughes looked at the glass. His hand appeared again. 5, 4. That's enough, Hughes said sharply. He reached for his radio. Confirm Charlotte's location immediately. The reply came fast this time. Too fast. Correction tutor reports Charlotte left supervised area earlier with authorized staff. Hughes' jaw tightened. Who? A name followed. Reeves felt something click into place. He didn't say it out loud, but his instincts screamed. Captain, Reeves said quietly, if we wait, this gets worse. Hughes looked at the door, then at the small hand, then back at Reeves. How confident are you? He asked. Reeves didn't hesitate. Enough to live with the consequences. That was all Hughes needed. Clear back, the captain ordered. Reeves took 3 steps, measured the distance, angled his body, not wild, not angry, precise. The first kick splintered the wood. Inside, a gasp. Again, Hughes barked. A second kick cracked the frame. Again. The third kick tore the door inward with a sharp, final sound that echoed down the corridor like a gunshot. The door collapsed. Reeves moved instantly. The room was cold. Dim, concrete walls. No windows except the small frosted panel. Princess Charlotte sat in the far corner, knees pulled to her chest, one shoe missing, eyes wide but dry too composed for a child who'd been scared this long. When she saw Reeves, her breath caught. You came, she whispered. He crossed the room in seconds and knelt in front of her. I saw the signal, he said gently. Both times. Her shoulders sagged in relief. Behind him, Hughes scanned the room, already issuing orders into his radio. But Reeves barely heard them. His focus was on the child in front of him, alive, unharmed, but shaken. What made you signal again? Reeves asked softly. Charlotte swallowed. I thought. Maybe the first time didn't count. Reeves felt something twist in his chest. Signals always count. Always. As he helped her to her feet, he glanced back at the shattered door. The physical proof of a line crossed, a rule broken, a choice made. What he didn't know yet was this. That kick wouldn't he just open a door. It would crack open the palace itself. And nothing inside would ever feel quite as untouchable again. The silence after the door fell was heavier than the impact itself. It wasn't the kind of quiet that meant peace. It was the kind that followed something irreversible. The kind that told you a line had been crossed and there was no stepping back. Sergeant Reeves stayed low, one knee on the cold concrete, keeping his body between Princess Charlotte and the broken doorway. Years of training didn't switch off just because the danger looked over. If anything, this was when instincts sharpened. "Can you stand?" he asked gently. Charlotte nodded, but when she tried, her ankle wobbled. Reeves caught her immediately. Steady hands, calm presence. "It's all right," he said. "I've got you." Captain Hughes moved deeper into the room, eyes sweeping every corner, every shadow. Storage shelves, old crates, a metal chair lying on its side beneath the window, too close to the glass to be coincidence. "She used the chair," Hughes murmured, "to reach the window." Reeves felt his jaw tighten. That meant Charlotte hadn't just waited. She'd tried, again and again. "How long were you in here?" Hughes asked, softening his voice as he crouched nearby. Charlotte hesitated. Children always did when time stretched strangely. "I don't know. It felt long." Reeves exchanged a glance with Hughes. "Long was bad enough. Did anyone come back?" Reeves asked. Charlotte shook her head. "She said my mummy would be here soon. But no one came. It got cold, alone, locked." Hughes straightened and keyed his radio. "We have a confirmed breach. Child recovered. Suspect has fled. Seal all service exits immediately." The word fled hung in the air. Reeves lifted Charlotte carefully, one arm under her knees, the other supporting her back. She didn't protest. She wrapped her arms around his neck instead, small fingers gripping fabric as if letting go might undo everything. As they moved into the corridor, the contrast was jarring. Plush carpet, warm lights, framed portraits staring down with painted calm. Two worlds colliding in a single step. "Who took you here?" H.G.'s asked as they walked. Charlotte rested her head briefly against Reeves' shoulder. "She said Granny needed me, that it was urgent." Reeves felt a flicker of anger rise sharp, controlled. Authority used as camouflage. Familiarity as a weapon. "Did she say why?" Hughes pressed. "She didn't like questions," Charlotte replied quietly. That answer chilled Reeves more than the cold room ever could. They reached the service stairs. More guards poured in now, faces tight, radios alive with overlapping commands. The palace was waking up to what had happened, piece by piece. At the top of the stairs, Reeves paused. "Captain," he said under his breath. This went impulsive. Hughes nodded grimly. "No." Locks altered. Timing precise. Clearance abused. They both knew what that meant. Someone had known exactly where Charlotte would be. Exactly when supervision would thin. Exactly which door could be hidden. As they emerged into the main wing, a familiar figure appeared at the far end of the corridor. Princess Catherine. She was moving. Faster than Reeves had ever seen her composure slipping just enough to reveal the mother underneath the title. When she saw Charlotte in Reeves' arms, she stopped short, one hand flying to her mouth. "Charlotte," she breathed. Reeves lowered the child gently. Charlotte immediately stepped into her mother's embrace, arms tight, face pressed into familiar warmth. Catherine closed her eyes for a brief second, relief washing over her so visibly it almost hurt to witness. "You're safe," she whispered. "You're safe." Reeves stepped back instinctively, but Catherine looked up at him, eyes shining. "You found her," she said. Not a question. "Yes, ma'am." "Thank you," Catherine replied. 2 words. Heavy. Earned before anything more could be said. Hurried footsteps echoed again. Prince William. His expression shifted the moment he took in the scene. The broken calm, the cluster of guards, Charlotte clinging to Catherine. He crossed the distance in seconds. Is she hurt? Just her ankle, Catherine said. She be all right. William knelt, checking Charlotte himself, voice gentle but hands trembling slightly. Then he stood and looked at Reeves. You, he said simply. Walk with us. They moved into a private room nearby, the door closing behind them. The palace noise faded, replaced by something more dangerous questions. William turned first to Hughes. I want a full report. Hughes gave it. Concise, clear, no embellishment. Then William looked back to Reeves. Start from the beginning, Reeves explained. The signal, the second signal, the lock, the decision. He didn't justify it. He didn't dramatize it. He simply told the truth. When he finished, the room was quiet. You breached without authorization, William said at last. Yes, sir. And if you'd waited? Reeves met his eyes. She would have stayed locked in. William held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded once. Good. Catherine squeezed Charlotte closer, listening intently. Who brought her? She asked. A name was spoken. The temperature in the room dropped. She's been around for years, Catherine said slowly. She had clearance. William's jaw tightened. Clearance doesn't mean trust. A knock interrupted them. A doctor entered, quick and professional, checking Charlotte's ankle, her pulse, her breathing. She's physically fine, the doctor said. But I'd recommend someone speak with her tomorrow, just to help process. Catherine nodded. Of course. As the doctor left, Hughes stepped closer to William. Sir, we've lost the suspect at the east gate. She had a vehicle waiting. William exhaled sharply through his nose. Then this wasn't about today alone. Reeves felt the weight of that realization settle. Planned, rehearsed, escalating. Has this happened before? Catherine asked, turning to Charlotte gently. Charlotte hesitated, then nodded. Sometimes she said Granny wanted to see me, but Granny didn't know. The room went still. How many times? William asked quietly. 3, maybe 4. Reeves saw Catherine's hand clench. William stood straighter. Then this isn't a mistake. This is a pattern. Hughes spoke carefully. Sir, with respect, we need external investigators. William nodded. Call them. He then turned to Reeves again. You're staying on this? Yes, sir. As the meeting broke, Reeves stepped back into the corridor, heart still racing, despite everything being over. Or so it seemed. Because as guards moved, doors locked, and radios buzzed, one truth became clear. The locked door wasn't the real danger. The real danger was how easily it had been justified. And somewhere beyond palace walls, someone believed they'd nearly succeeded. Kensington Palace didn't erupt after the incident. It stilled. Corridors that normally hummed with routine fell into an unnatural hush. Doors closed more softly. Voices dropped instinctively. Even footsteps seemed to slow, as if the building itself was holding its breath. When danger struck the heart of the royal household, panic wasn't allowed. Silence was. Sergeant Reeves felt it immediately as he resumed his position outside the private family wing. Guards rotated more frequently now. Radios stayed open. Eyes tracked every movement twice instead of once. This wasn't heightened security. This was shaken trust. Inside, Prince William and Princess Catherine sat together, Charlotte between them. The child had been given warm socks, a blanket, and her missing shoe had somehow reappeared, found abandoned near the service stairs, like evidence no one wanted to acknowledge. Charlotte traced the stitching absently, quiet but alert. She didn't cry, Catherine said softly, more to herself than anyone else. Not once, William nodded. She stayed calm because she trusted the system. The unspoken truth hung heavy in the room. The system had nearly failed her. Captain Hughes entered with a tablet, his expression grim. We've completed the initial access review. And, William asked, the suspect's clearance was. unusually broad, more than her role required. She could move through service corridors, storage levels, and staff-only routes without challenge. Catherine looked up sharply. Who approved that? Hughes hesitated. That hesitation spoke volumes. William straightened. Say it. It was authorized 3 years ago, Hughes said carefully. Signed off at the highest household level. The room felt colder. So she didn't sneak through security, Catherine said slowly. She walked through it. Yes, ma'am. Reeves stood just outside the open doorway, close enough to hear, far enough to remain invisible. This was the part of royal protection. No one talked about the moment when the threat wasn't outside the gates, but already inside. William exhaled slowly. I want everything reviewed. Every access log. Every schedule change. Every time Charlotte was moved without us present. It's already happening, Hughes replied. But there's something else. He tapped the tablet, bringing up a series of timestamps. These are instances where Charlotte was redirected unexpectedly. Same pattern. Same intermediary. Catherine's fingers tightened around Charlotte's hand. You're saying today wasn't the first attempt? No, Hughes said. Just the first one that nearly succeeded. The words settled like a weight. Charlotte looked up then. Am I in trouble? Catherine immediately pulled her close. No, sweetheart, never. You did exactly the right thing. Charlotte nodded, but her eyes flicked toward the door toward where Reeves stood. You came when I did it again, she said quietly. Reeves stepped forward slightly, just enough to be seen. I did, he replied, and I always will. The simplicity of the promise seemed to calm her more than any protocol ever could. Later that evening, after Charlotte was settled with her siblings under additional guard, William convened a smaller meeting. No aides, no press staff, just the people who needed to know. Captain Hughes, Sergeant Reeves, and a man newly arrived, coat still on, eyes sharp with experience. Detective Inspector Marcus Hawley. If you're here, Reeves said quietly to Hughes, this is serious. Hughes nodded. Hawley handles cases that aren't meant to exist. Hawley wasted no time. I'll be blunt. This was an internal breach involving a minor. That puts us in rare territory. Can you find her? William asked. Yes, Hawley replied. But that's only half the problem. The other half? Catherine asked. Why she felt confident enough to do this, Hawley said. People don't take risks like this unless they believe someone powerful will protect them. Silence again. Hawley continued. I've reviewed the preliminary footage. She wasn't panicked. She wasn't rushed. She behaved like someone executing a plan she expected to work. Eve spoke up. She dismissed my questions using authority, not fear, confidence. Hall nodded. Exactly. William leaned forward. So where does that leave us? Hawley met his eyes with a very uncomfortable question. He paused. Who benefits from Charlotte being frightened, isolated, or discredited, even briefly? No one answered immediately, because everyone understood the implications. Catherine spoke first. This stays contained. Agreed, William said. No leaks. No speculation. Hawley nodded. I'll proceed quietly. But I'll need cooperation at every level. You'll have it, William replied. As the meeting ended, Reeves felt something he hadn't expected. Unease not about what had happened, but about what was coming. That night, palace lights dimmed as usual. From the outside, nothing looked different. No sirens, no crowds, no headlines. But inside, phones buzzed behind closed doors. Documents were pulled from archives. Access codes quietly changed. And one office, long considered beyond suspicion, was sealed for review. Elsewhere in the city, a woman sat alone in the back seat of a moving car, phone powered off, coat pulled tight around her shoulders. She watched the lights blur past the window, jaw clenched, not in fear, but frustration. It had been so close. Back at the palace, Reeves stood his post long past his shift's end. He replayed the moment again and again, the fingers counting down, the pause between the first and second signal. That pause haunted him, because it meant Charlotte had waited. She had trusted that someone would notice. That trust was fragile. William stepped out into the corridor then, jacket off, sleeves rolled up. He stopped beside Reeves. "You did the right thing," he said quietly. "Yes, sir." William looked toward the family wing. "Whatever happens next?" "I won't forget that." Reeves nodded, unsure what to say. As William walked away, Reeves glanced once more down the corridor where the door had stood. The palace hadn't erupted. It had gone silent. And in that silence, power was shifting slowly, carefully, but undeniably. Morning light returned to Kensington Palace, the way it always did, soft, polite, almost apologetic. But nothing inside felt the same. Urgent Reeves noticed it immediately as he walked the perimeter at dawn. Guards nodded more deliberately. Staff avoided eye contact, not out of guilt, but awareness. Everyone knew something had happened. They just didn't know how close it had come to becoming irreversible. Inside the private family wing, Princess Charlotte slept longer than usual. Catherine had barely left her side through the night, one hand resting gently on her daughter's back, as if contact itself was a promise. "You are not alone." William stood at the window, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes," he said quietly. "I understand." He listened, then closed his eyes. "Proceed." The call ended. Catherine looked up. "They found her?" William nodded once. She didn't get far. No satisfaction followed the words, only exhaustion. By mid-morning, Detective Inspector Halley returned, his expression unreadable but resolved. "She was apprehended quietly," he said. "No assistance." "And?" Catherine asked. Halley exhaled. "She's talking." That changed everything. They gathered again, smaller this time. Fewer voices, more weight. Halley laid out the findings carefully, methodically, like someone dismantling a lie piece by piece. "She believed she was protected," he began. "Not officially, not on paper, but personally." "By whom?" William asked, though the tension in his voice suggested he already suspected the answer. Halley hesitated, just a fraction too long. "She believed her actions would be understood." Understood? Not forgiven. Not excused. Understood. Reeves stood at the edge of the room, silent, absorbing the implication. In his years of service, he'd learned that danger wasn't always loud or violent. Sometimes it wore familiarity, authority, access. Charlotte's trust had been the real target. "Why?" Catherine asked. "Why Charlotte?" Halley met her eyes. "Because she's visible. Because hurting a child doesn't always leave bruises, but it leaves consequences." William's jaw tightened. "And because she believed no one would dare break protocol." Reeves felt the truth of that settle deep. The room went quiet again. Later that day, Reeves was summoned not to a security office, not to a briefing room, but to a small sitting room overlooking the gardens. William and Catherine were already there. Charlotte sat at the table, coloring carefully, tongue slightly between her teeth in concentration. She looked up when Reeves entered and smiled. "Hello," she said. Reeves smiled back. "Hello, Your Royal Highness." "You don't have to call me that," Charlotte replied seriously. "You already know me." William watched the exchange with something like pride. "Sergeant," he said, gesturing for Reeves to sit. "We wanted to speak with you, properly." Reeves sat back straight. "You broke protocol," Catherine said gently. "Yes, ma'am." "And you may have risked your career." "Yes, ma'am." She nodded. "Why?" Reeves didn't need to think. Because she was counting on someone to notice. Charlotte looked up at him then. "I thought maybe I did it wrong the first time," she said softly. "That's why I did it again." Reeves swallowed. "You did it exactly right." William leaned forward. That second signal changed everything. It wasn't the signal, Reeves replied quietly. It was the pause between them. Catherine's eyes filled not with tears, but understanding. That afternoon, security protocols changed, quietly, permanently. Access levels were tightened, escort rules rewritten. No child moved without dual confirmation, verbal and visual. Authority was no longer enough. Trust had to be earned continuously. And one particular service corridor was sealed for good. As for Reeves, recognition came without fanfare, no ceremony, no press release. Instead, William handed him a small envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten. Thank you for choosing courage when silence would have been easier. Below it, a formal notice, promotion, immediate effect, senior detail assignment. Reeves looked up, stunned. I was just doing my job, he said. William shook his head. No, you did more. Charlotte stood then, walked over, and held out a small box wrapped in careful paper. My idea, she said proudly. Reeves knelt to her level. You didn't have to. I wanted to, she insisted. Inside was a watch, simple, elegant. On the back, an engraving. He saw the signal. Reeves felt his throat tighten. I'll keep it always, he said quietly. She smiled, satisfied. In the weeks that followed, the palace returned to its rhythms, but with a subtle difference. Guards watched more closely. Parents held their children a second longer. Authority no longer moved unquestioned. And somewhere deep within Kensington Palace, a truth had been permanently etched into its walls. Protection isn't about rules. It's about judgment. About noticing the small things. A pause. A hand at a window. A signal sent twice because the first time no one came. Reeves still walked that corridor sometimes. There was no door anymore. Just a clean wall, restored seamlessly, as if nothing had ever happened. But he remembered. He remembered the sound of splintering wood, the weight of a child trusting him completely, the moment he chose to act. And every time he passed, he checked his watch, the one that reminded him why some doors are meant to be broken. Because when a child asks for help once is enough, twice should never be necessary.